I've been called lots of stuff. Yeah, I've done a lot of deed. I've had it rough and tough. You know I've smoked a lot of weed. Mellow, don't you know? Well, I've learned a thing or two, like when and where I should go to, what I should or shouldn't do. I've been left alone, no company, but that's alright with me, 'cause I'm big and ugly. I'm big and ugly. I'd like to let it grow, you know I'm talking about my beard. I'll have you all know that I know sometimes it might look weird, but I got a friend upstairs whom I'll keep confiding in. I know he's there 'cause when I knock he always lets me in. Brings me peace with what it is and what is not for me. To accept what I see, they're looking back at me as big and ugly. Big and ugly. I could have been small and cute and play a flute like a dream, or sing like an angel, maybe play ukulele. But I got to work with my hands and keep dragging it along, banging on that old guitar. Sometimes I'll write a song. I lose a few friends, so it seems I got no enemies. 'Cause what you get is what you see, that's how it is with me, 'cause I'm big and ugly. I'm big and ugly. Big and ugly.
Hey everybody, welcome back to The Big Uglies. I'm your host Josh Denny, and I'm also at a weird angle here today. This is very sort of I don't know what you would call this, Cronenberg angles or something. I don't know, my phone's tilted. Anyway, welcome to a show. It's Friday night. If you're on the West Coast, it's Friday afternoon and you're a piece of shit without a job who's home at 4:30 in the afternoon like me. A lot of stuff to get to this week. Very exciting week. And of course, I can't get to it here on The Big Uglies without my one and only co-host, the very tight, the very tall Mr. Big Speed Hospitals.
The very tight, the very sexual. Man.
Fun week. Good week.
Dude, we already have chat going. Did they read our agenda today?
Oh yeah, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. This is great. Person goes, hey man, how's your fitness journey? That's pretty perfect. That's perfect. That's a pretty great setup.
Shout out to Carter, man. Shout out, man.
It's almost like Carter has the agenda in front of him. Yes, how's your fitness journey? In case you guys at home don't follow me on X, have no idea what this is in reference to. I'll pull it up for you guys, but
How is your fitness journey?
How is my fitness journey? Listen, first of all, this is why, and you know, we're coming into the show tonight like a little earlier than the biggest problem in the universe because we figured, hey, why don't we move to Friday and see what it's like to lead those guys in? Because I'm going to sit at home and watch their show for a little bit tonight too. But I was on X earlier this week, and one of the fun things about being like a newly single guy in my 40s is talking about what the dating scene has been like, or meeting new people or being introduced to new people. And you and I have this thing that we very much agree on, is that there is a limitation to the honesty and vulnerability you can have with the opposite sex. Like you cannot tell them anything honest about yourself that you don't like or that you're working on, because then you become their project, right? Or even if it's not something you don't like, you're not working, you can't even tell them your plans. And somebody put into comments to this thread the other day, they were like, hey, so what are you doing? And I was like, oh, no, you're not getting me, audience. Like, ask our buddy Vito what it's like when you make commitments to your audience about your weight loss. You end up taking your clothes off and being weighed for toys on your own show every week while a man in a pirate suit sings a song.
And smashes your favorite toys.
Smashes your favorite toys because you live in Chinatown and you can't stop eating the noodle. So it's also providing life updates for the audience. You'll see me and I'll either be fat or I won't be. It'll be one of the two things.
Yeah, and that's why I don't even go like, I don't even casually say it like even if I thought something about, I'm like, oh fuck, man, I need to go on a diet because I've been eating like crazy this week.
Yeah, which we will say.
I can't even casually say that out loud.
Which we will say to each other, and then I won't. This is the difference between men and women. All right. First of all, there are many. Most of the big one starts with they're fucking retarded, and some of us aren't.
Yeah, their brains.
You will say to me, I'll be like, hey, man, you want to go get the food? And you go, nah, dude, I'm trying to watch. I'm trying to get it together. And I go, oh, okay. The next time I see you doing something fat, I don't go, what happened to where I'm trying to watch my figure? Like, yeah, I don't remember. Yeah. I just
go. It's like shit my mom would do.
Yeah, just like, oh, I thought, we're off of the program already? Like... It's like, dude, what? That's the kind of shit only a cunt will do.
Also, women don't have the discipline and regiment anyway. So they just want to see that, like, if you said it out loud, like, hey, I'm going to do this, this, and this, they just want to see you not stick to something. It doesn't have to be about weight loss. It doesn't have to be anything. It can literally just be like, oh, I'm going to start taking my dog to the dog park more often. Yeah. And then like by the next time I talk to them, they'd be like, you still taking your dog to the dog park?
Every day? Are you still taking him every day like you committed to?
I don't even remember telling you that.
They take everything that comes out of your mouth as some sort of verbal contract to them. And I used to fight with my ex about this all the time, where she'd be like, when are you going to do this thing? And I'll go, it's not important. I'll get to it when I get to it. And she'd be like, okay. And then she would badger me to the point of where I go, all right, I'll do it tonight. And then it literally like an hour would go by in which I like both took a shit and cooked everyone dinner. It's like, so I guess that's not happening tonight. It's like, I'll do it right now, bitch. How about I throw you through the window tonight?
That's my go-to.
How about I throw you through a fucking wall tonight? How about that? I can commit to that.
Oh, man.
By the way, do you wonder if in our father's generation, when they would threaten to beat them, that they would come back and say some shit like, I thought I was going to get my ass whipped after dinner tonight.
What happened to that?
Just
tough guy.
Another fallen commit. Why are you hitting me? Now you understand.
When you're trying everything else.
When you've tried everything else. So anyway.
Did you find it? Did you pull it up?
Yeah, I got it pulled up right here. We got a bunch of stuff to pull up for today's showsy, but I've got it right here. So I got this text and I couldn't possibly. And now some people are like, what is the pretext of this? The pretext of this was just a text like 5 days ago going, hey, how you doing? That was it. And then no reply until Tuesday. And it was, hey, so sorry for the late reply. Had a busy day, crammed Monday through Thursday, so I can be off work on Friday. By the way, can I just say this? If you're a woman, you're not watching this. But let's say that a man is watching this and a woman is looking over his shoulder right now and hearing some of this. We don't care about all of the fucking circus that's going on in your head 24/7. I don't care. I don't need any of these details. I don't need any of these details. Well, here's what I did the previous 5 days.
Don't care.
Like, I don't care. I don't care.
That's why the list of things. That's why this. I have to. Any guy can attest to this. I have in the past and in my recent present had to make up a laundry list of things that I'm not about to do just so they get off the phone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And just so I can sit down for 20 minutes and not do anything. Right?
Yeah.
Like when I go, all right, I'm going to hit you up later because I'm going to go do some laundry, take a shower, do this and this and this. And then I got to go to this thing. And really, I just want to sit down for 45 minutes
and
not be bothered.
Dude, the thing that's been insane, right? Because like people don't know this, but after I became single, immediately, like the same day, my mom came to visit, and she had been here for a while, and then the fires happened, and she extended her stay because she didn't want to leave us here with the fires. And you know, it's just mom's being mom. So I've literally been on my own now for about 10 days where I've now had just utter silence, complete privacy, all to myself again for the first time.
How many times did you nut from that?
12 years. I mean, on the first of just walking in and going, is anyone home? And then there's no answer, just immediately.
And not even from a stroke motion, just from the pure thought of the bliss of silence.
The absence of someone else's stimuli nothing has made me nut harder than just not having somebody else going, can you, could you, nothing, none of it. So anyway, this chick, by the way, very nice girl. Just, you know, it was pretty obvious from Jump Street that this thing was probably not going anywhere. Just too many differences. But anyway, nice person. So anyway, what I notice is coming along, and this is what's so funny is like women through the courtship. This is what I'm learning. Women through the courtship process will talk about all your strengths and all of your positive and everything else. And then what happens is when they meet you, and I have this theory as it goes earlier with you about this is why black women fetishize black men. I'll get to this in a second. But here's my point is when they meet you and they see that you're this charismatic, easygoing, fun guy, and you're smart and you've got great stories and you've done a lot of shit in your life in multiple fields and everything else, and they start to compare themselves to you, and they start that feeling of like, well, I've lived in the same place my whole life, and I still live at home, and there's all these things I want to do, but I've never gotten to it, or I've always found it. So then they start to look across the table and go, well, what's wrong with him? What's wrong with him? And obviously the one that jumps right off the page, especially over dinner, is that he's fat.
Well, it ain't jumping. It's just it's hanging on the table.
It's the 300-pound elephant that you're dining with. Okay. And so
it ain't jumping out of it.
Have you ever watched a woman take inventory of your physical specimen where she stops looking in your eyes and starts going like, All
right.
I see that over there. Right there. I see that over there.
You mean specimen like or something, right? Not like an athlete.
You froze for a second. I think you were trying to say something mean, but go on.
Hold on. You mean specimen like lab?
Yeah, they're both good and bad specimens, Carl. Okay. Specimen itself is an anomalous term. It doesn't.
I hear specimen. I'm just like, oh, that athlete is a specimen.
Well,
LeBron James is a specimen.
And I would just like to point out that when you thought of specimens, you immediately thought of dudes. You fucking faggot. Anyway,
well, that's how we measure athletes. Like, that guy's a specimen.
Oh, yeah. Well, I like to think of lady specimens. How about that? Because I'm not trying to put my mouth around a specimen.
I don't ever try to put my mouth around a specimen.
Oh, no. You probably achieve it pretty easy. It don't take much effort, does it? Anyway, so there's a couple comments that come out in this one date we have, by the way, where it's like little jives of like, oh, so you used to play ice hockey. Do you still skate? And I go, no, I'm too fat to do that. Obviously, I got to get in better shape if I want to skate again. Right. So little things like that. And then so this one comes along. And so anyway, as that comes up, as we're talking about that, and then I'm taking her to dessert and I decide not to get anything. It's sort of like, well, oh, what do you like, watching your figure or whatever? And I go like, well, yeah, I mean, I'm fucking 40. I don't want to be this heavy forever. Like, yeah, I'm trying to get my shit together. Just that little comment. It's like, oh, so like, what's your fitness regimen? What's your plan? What are you going to work on? What's going to be, So then after we hang out, the next 4 to 5 text messages are all, what's like, what are you doing? Did you go to the gym today? Do you do the gym in the morning or at night? Like, are you basically, in my mind, I'm just going, are you still fat? 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 I'm just curious. Are you still fat? Are you still fat? So anyway, I get this text the other day and it ends again with that. How's your fitness journey going? And I just put still fat. And then I shared it with everybody on it. And it's like, listen, man, if you want to better yourself, do that. But don't fucking tell other people about it, because they'll either make you their project or they will have some sort of arrangement in their mind where they're like, no, you owe me pounds. Again, like the biggest problem audience where they're just like, no, Vito, you owe us pounds every week, motherfucker, because you promised.
To say that you were still fat though is funny to me, because for one, I hate the word that they use, journey.
Journey. It's a journey. It's the spiritual journey of weight loss.
A mental health journey. I've been, lately I've been really on my I've been on this like Pilates journey. I've been on this like juice journey. It's I don't want to say it's just an LA thing, because it's not, but it's very prevalent in LA. And the fact that you were like still fat is funny to me, because like, what did she think was going to happen in 5 days? Like, well, you would just been like, psh, 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 I went to the gym and now I'm Hulk. Like, it's like,
you saw me.
Bitch, are you retarded? We went to dinner. Like, it was 4 days ago.
Yeah, it was 10 days ago from today.
So
it was the Saturday before the show. It might be a little longer ago then. It was a Saturday before the show where you fought a woman.
So what is worse than a woman thinking that she has a project in a man than a dude who simps for that chick despite all her flaws and red flags?
Hold on. Do I smell a shagway coming in here, Mr. Spitali? Did you just shagway the show?
It's a schmegway.
It's a shagway. Okay.
Yeah, but what's worse? What's worse?
Sim culture, way worse. Sim culture is way fucking worse.
Sim culture gotta be worse. I can handle a woman who thinks she can like be my project manager or some goofy shit.
By the way, which all you have to do is do what I did and just go, no. Right? And they'll do one of two things. They'll either go, you're funny, and they'll respect your boundary, or they'll just never speak to you again. It's a win-win.
Yeah, either way, it works for me. But I couldn't be around the extreme simp who would just ignore all this stuff and like, just because it's like the hottest pussy that you're ever going to get in your life, he'd just be like, yeah, but what about all of this? And they'd be like,
right.
Ah.
Yeah.
And then what's worse is the simp will then make excuses for that, or be like, And I can't help but think of a certain thing that happened this past week.
Well, this is the thing is normally this is the thing. We don't do
We gotta
shows.
let it go.
We don't do shows about shows, and we definitely usually don't talk about other comedians. But like probably a dozen people asked me what my thoughts were on this situation, and it's gone pretty viral in the world of comedy. And the only reason that I even thought we should talk about it is because A, it applies to what we were just talking about when it comes to simping. But B, I also think I have a different take than most people about this situation. So we'll get into it. Do you want to set it up?
Yeah, so we're talking about the Natalie Cuomo clip that went viral, where there was a troll, I'll just say for lack of better words, a troll in the front row who trolled her at first, but she engaged first, at least that's how it seemed, and had no back pocket quips, no anything to go with the crowd work. And my take initially and overall is just don't do crowd work.
Mm-hmm.
Like if your thing is like up there and the dude heckles you, he's like, you don't got no fucking material. And she could have been like, here's my material, security.
Yeah.
She could have easily done that route, you know, with that, or it'd been like, hey, shut the fuck up, or we'll kick you out of here, and then just keep it moving. Instead, she did what not even female comics do, all women do, as a go-to insult. You don't like me, you must be gay.
Yeah, so that's sort of the backstory of this, because this is her clip that she shared, which obviously cuts some of that initial back and forth banter out and just shows this part of like
just don't do
it. Just says heckler confronts comedian. So here we go.
Do you want to ask him?
Why are you making it sound like we're a couple?
Oh my god, don't get scared. What? Oh, it's not that. Wow, it's not that. Wow, look at you.
Yeah.
I could leave right now if
Well,
I
I can
wanted.
roast you too. You can't just roast all of us and get nothing.
Okay, so I want to stop right there. She can do that. That's exactly what a comedy show is a person that got paid by the club that you paid to see doing whatever the fuck they want on stage. You paid to see it. So right off the bat, I have an issue with this mindset that audience members somehow have of like, this isn't GoFundMe, faggot. You don't pay the admission cost and come in and then executive produce what the show is. You get what you paid for.
Right. And,
right.
And I agree. That's why, for lack of better words, I called the guy a troll.
Up until this point,
I'm on her side.
Yeah, I'm on Natalie. She's totally in the right. Now, I will say this, and somebody pointed out, Primo Josh Denny fan just said, Natalie was on your podcast a few years back too. So there's a little backstory here. Natalie got booked to do a show with me. This is like 2021 or 2020. It was like during the pandemic or right at the tail end of the pandemic. We were supposed to do the dojo in New York together. And I didn't know that they had booked me on Passover weekend because I'm not into Jew stuff. So we did Passover weekend show in a bar on a rainy night in the midst or at the tail end of COVID in an all Jewish neighborhood. So there was like 8 people there and 6 of them were my friends that came with me. It was fucking dead. Now, she did my podcast before to kind of plug it. When we got there, because there was no audience, she refused to go on stage. Absolutely refused. And Gino was there, Gino Bisconte, and I were like, Natalie, you can't do this. Like, this is what it is to be a comic. Sometimes you go up and there's fucking 5 people and you just gotta, this is how you earn your stripes. You gotta go up and you either eat shit with dignity or maybe you go up and you come up with some brilliant shit, but like, you gotta go lean into it. And she went up and did like 4 or 5 minutes and bailed. So where this clip goes next doesn't surprise, but I noticed right away she's in defense banter mode. The minute she starts to digest what he actually said, which is don't be pissed at me that you don't have any material, you see her whole energy,
the facade like drop.
And then that's when she immediately fires back with, I could just leave. Right. So anyway, I'll continue.
I see. So you were afraid because you felt like I was saying you're gay.
I can take the mic.
It's okay, he's your new friend. I will say this, like, it is such a hard time in this world right now. There are so many people that came together to be supportive and fucking amazing, and you're putting fucking look me in the eyes. You're putting negative fucking energy.
Okay, so thoughts at this point, Carl?
At this point,
This is where
and I know Ty Rivera had the same.
Give it to me in the Ty Rivera voice.
He's like, yeah, I mean, don't ever tell anybody on stage that you're here to be supportive. It's fucking comedy. And I was just like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
don't go and tell them they're there to be supportive and amazing. They're there to laugh. They're there to laugh. Period. Point blank. Period. That's what they're there for. It's comedy.
It's not an AA meeting. Like, it's not. They're not there to support your habit. They paid to be entertained. They have a right. Not
entertainment. Yeah. And that's why I said, I would have stopped it then. If I'm her and I really feel that way and I'm triggered by it, all this stuff, why not just take and be like, hey man, I'm not doing this back and forth. You can either shut the fuck up or get the fuck out.
Right. That's
and she could have easily done that. Dude, I've seen faggy comedians do that for less. I've seen Hofstetter post a fucking clip.
Yeah, Hofstetter.
Somebody just from the back mentioned like Jews. And he's like, you're saying Jews run Hollywood? Get him out of here.
Yeah.
And literally kicked a guy out for saying, he was like, I'm not tolerating anti-Semitism. It was his right to be a faggot and do that.
Yeah.
But like he did like a call and response. And somebody in the back of the audience did that.
Yeah, he said something like, he even almost invited it in a sense where he was like, oh yeah, like what is that, like an all Jewish industry or something? And a guy just yelled Hollywood.
Yeah.
Almost like it was an improv show, like make fun of that. He wasn't even being negative. He was like Hollywood, right? Did I get it right? And Hofstetter's like Jew. And then the funny thing is that Hofstetter went so much further, which is what a lot of Jews often do, where they tell on themselves in the defense of anti-Semitism.
So you're saying Jews run Hollywood? Is that what you're saying? Get the fuck out of here.
Hold on a second. Are you saying Jews run Hollywood and exclude anyone who isn't Jewish and also have secret sex cabals where they sexually assault underage women against their will in exchange for the promise of an opportunity of stardom and fame and money and fortune? Get the fuck out of my show. Like,
yeah, he is just like, doth protest too much.
Right.
So when here's the other thing I can't stand. Negative energy, bitch. We live in the negative. Flip it and make shit funny.
Yeah,
that's why 9/11 jokes, Jew jokes, black jokes, any of it can be funny because it's negative, dark shit. So don't sit around and go like, "There's so much negativity in this world," and right now you're putting out, "Look at me," and you're like, "Okay, first of all." I just rolled my eyes, bitch. Second of all, what the fuck are you talking about? It was
Now, on the flip side of this, I do like that she's getting in this dude's face because, like it or not, and later on in the video when she gets the guy's phone that I guess he left there, or was the friend's phone?
Yeah, it was the other friend that was sitting there.
First of all, shitty friend. That guy literally was like, I wonder if I show her my phone, maybe she'll let me smell her pussy from across the room. This is more
simp shit. It's more simp shit, dude.
It drives me nuts, right? And so later on in the clip, I don't think it's in this clip, but later on, when she gets his phone or the guy's phone and reads their text exchange, the guy had said earlier in the night, like, oh, I bet I get thrown out of here. And I'm like, okay, so you went into the show fully planning to say,
and that's why I call him a troll. This is the same shit that even trolls would be at our show. It'd be like, get the fuck out of here. Or they see there's tickets sold and they go, oh, I better get out of here before I fucking
They'll come in and they'll take pictures of the room 2 hours before the show starts and be like, look, there's nobody here, and then leave. Like,
and then they leave when the room is full just so they don't fucking look like a faggot.
And shit kicked out of them by real people who really want to see a show.
Yeah, and so but again, this goes back to don't do crowd work if you don't got crowd work muscle. And so she's getting there yelling at this guy's face, but what she's yelling about and how she's saying it and what she's yelling is
I-
retarded because she's not Sam Kinison.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a moment because I don't think you or anybody get to tell her what she gets to do on stage, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Let's let the clip roll here a little bit.
Out here. This is the last show of my fucking. Look me in the fucking eye. This is the last. It's the last show of my fucking weekend. It's a sold out show, and you want to say mean shit to me, okay? So don't fucking do that.
Okay, hold on. I want to keep playing more because I want you to see what happens. And now she starts pacing.
What mean shit? What did he say? You don't have material? That was mean. You called him gay.
And they're chanting her name. Very flustered.
You can leave.
Okay, so here I want to point out, what did she say before an army of simps started chanting her name in support? This is a sold out show. Here's why you don't get to go, like, bitch, don't do crowd work. If you can't do crowd work, don't do material, work on material, but get better at comedy. She don't have to get better at comedy. You know why? Because she's selling out shows because you simps want to fuck her. Right? And so you don't get to bitch about how good she is because you've never held her to that standard.
Yeah.
You don't give a fuck how good comics are.
You don't give a fuck how good she is at all.
Nobody does. You weren't there. Nobody has left a Matt Rife show. No woman has left a Matt Rife show and go, his writing needs a little bit of work. Never once. And neither did any of the men who went to this show to see her. They were like, I hope that she makes eye contact with me one point of the night to get me through the next 6 months of jerking off.
Well, dude, even some of the comments on there. Did you see some of the comments?
No, I did not read.
Guy wouldn't look at her in the eyes. He must be gay. I'd look at her all day. And I go, that's the problem right there. That's it.
That's the point. So as much as people want to sit here and go, she's not good enough at comedy to be headlining these rooms. No, that's never been a standard. It's never been a standard.
Never
gonna be a standard until you guys make it a standard. You don't get to go. It's like, it would be like me going to a strip club and going and be like, oh, wait a minute, none of these women have college degrees?
Yeah. So, and this is also why we don't normally talk about comics and stuff like that. It's like, again, she's entitled to say whatever the fuck she wants up there.
She's allowed to be as shitty at comedy as she is because you allow it. You bought tickets. You keep buying tickets.
You're buying tickets to see that. So
you guys have supported comedy on the merits of everything other than comedy. And this is how I know it's bad, because when people criticize Micah, nobody's ever said, your writing sucks, your jokes suck. They just go, you're not rich, you're poor, you're not famous. Oh, if you were better, you'd sell out arenas. And it's like, okay, but nobody's ever said I'm not funny.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So the point is
I'm sure somebody has. They're probably in the chat right now.
Yeah. My point is, nobody I respect has ever said I'm not funny.
There you go. That's more of a thing.
Nobody I respect has ever come to me and go, that's not and by the way, if they have, it's usually in the early stages where they go, that's not quite ready yet or whatever. But no one's ever come to me with something I've made long after the fact and been like, hey,
I watched an hour of your special. You're not funny.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. So this idea of like, well, maybe you should work on. No, she doesn't have to work on it. Like, because you guys gave this to her. Everyone goes, she's not ready to headline. Yeah, she is, because she's headlining and she's selling tickets. That's the point. These club owners don't fucking care. They're trying to pay their bills. The fucking audience obviously doesn't care. It's a million fucking big Viking guys look like me who are like, yeah, Natalie, yeah.
I'm gonna stop you right there. You don't look like a Viking, but
I look like a Viking.
You look like a guy at the Vikings game. I'm gonna go hold the phone, buddy. There's no raping and pillaging going on.
No. I count the rapes and the pillages. I do the accounting for.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Excuse me, Skarsgård.
You work for Viking Inc.
Yeah. I'm Viking.
Corporate Viking.
Yeah, corporate Viking. Excuse me, Moors. We're gonna take all of this land here now.
But yeah, so my take is like, just in a pure comedian form.
Just so you know, I'm talking over with the fellas, and we'll be skipping the rapes this time because ew.
But I'm just in like the pure comic stance. It'd be like, yeah, if you want to avoid these situations and don't look like you're having a meltdown on stage, or don't, or like, I'm just like from the optics and stuff, just don't engage and do crowd work because you don't have that muscle or you don't have back pocketed shit. And that was my take. But the reason we brought this up anyway is simp culture. Yeah. OnlyFans only exists because of simps, not because of women.
Well, and this kind of came at the tail end of a conversation I got into and you participated with earlier in the week about this right-wing push to ban pornography. And it's like, I don't think the government should be deciding to ban anything. And people talk about like the societal problems of porn and everything else. And I go, no, this is all like, my belief is that I don't give a shit what's out there. You have to self-regulate. So like people go, oh, the problem is porn. It ruins relationships and it gives people unrealistic expectations. It's like, I could say the same thing about Disney movies for men. Nobody's calling for them to be banned. Nobody's saying, but listen to me. Nobody's saying that, we have to take down all the McDonald's because fat people just can't say no to it. So
they did take away supersize.
Oh, sure they did. It went from a supersize to a large.
Yeah, but I'm saying I used to get a bucket of fries or a bucket of Coke at McDonald's, and they go, you know what? We're going to sell McSalad shakers and do away with that. And you go, fuck you. I pay to be fat, you cocksuckers. Like, I
know, but that was...
I wanted that choice for myself.
But that's my point is you're saying, well, they did do it before, and it was government overreach. And it's like, yeah. So the point is if you don't want this at your comedy clubs, if you don't want women making $1 million a month on OnlyFans, pull the plug on consumption. Stop buying tickets to girls' comedy shows just because they're hot. Stop giving women who don't want to work money for taking their clothes off on the internet, and it will go away. And then you will fix society. The problem is,
I say this all the time with right-wing people, with right-wing, what is it, manosphere shit.
They're hypocrites.
Well, every time they bring up like Andrew Tate and all this stuff, he's like, oh my God, he's a misogynist and all this stuff. I would go, yeah, but you could just, and they go, he's right. These women are whores. They all watch porn and stuff. I'm like, dude, he made money off of that shit. And he made money off simps like you.
Yes.
Who would sit there and go like, yeah, dude, she's not even hot. You know what Vito said at one time? Do you remember we were in studio? And Vito said, he was like, yeah, I mean, she's hot because she's symmetrical. And I go, what the fuck does that mean? What am I, in math class? And he was like, she's got like perfect symmetry. And I go, dude, you need to leave the house because there's not a guy who's ever touched a woman who's attracted to her symmetry. That is something that you say when you're creating a character on a video game you're jerking off to or some shit.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Her symmetry. Her nose lines up when I put a line down it. What are you talking about?
I refuse to believe he's ever gotten close enough to a woman's face to measure their symmetry.
But like, that's my point. It's like, so these like parasocial relationships where dudes have simped for so long and be like, my favorite comic is in my city. I go, oh, dude, who's your favorite comic? Like this chick who fucking shows her asshole on OnlyFans, but also has a podcast. They'd be like, what?
Yeah.
That's your favorite comedian? They'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, dude, cool. like neat. And it's like, I'm a capitalist. You have the power and the right to go and support it.
Yes.
I don't have to agree with it. And I don't have to think that you're fucking cool for elevating people. I hate the word platforming because everybody has the same platforms, but to elevate things like porn, OnlyFans, shit. You want to know how it's working in Hollywood, where they go egregious sex scenes, all this. People just stopped watching.
Yes, I'll say this: there are probably a handful of female comedians that I think are attractive, and that I even in some cases think are like adequately funny. I will never buy tickets to go to their show. I'll buy tickets to go see Maria Bamford because Maria Bamford is an exceptional comedian. Yeah, I've never once been like, I'd love to fuck Maria Bamford. The thought has never crossed my mind, but I think she's an incredible comedian. And so I would go watch Maria Bamford. I'd buy a ticket to go see her. But all of these the women who started at the stand and then used to fuck a really famous podcaster and then somehow platform that into a lot of fans and the ability to sell tickets doesn't make them great at comedy overnight. And you deserve to have a mediocre show because you didn't care about that enough when you bought the ticket.
And I also don't care about the bookers complaining about it either. Or
no.
When they go like, we booked so-and-so here and they brought like 70% of a crowd was 70% of the crowd was full, and it was just like it wasn't even that good of a show and all this. And being like, hey man, that's on you.
It's not just the Natalie Cuomo's of the world, right? Because this one's easy to pick out. There's a fuckload of Kill Tony comedians that are not worth a shit, and because they have that massive credit, they have that massive credit. They get booked to headline clubs like Side Splitters in Tampa, and 35 people buy tickets for each show every night, and then they're just like, oh fuck, I thought I had it. And it's like, yeah, you're not really doing the work, right? That's why, like, back in the day,
your 60-minute clip or your 60-second clip blew up for like 6 million views, and now you're like, whoa, dude, I'm the shit.
But listen, I got to be honest. When I came up, it was still not that way. Like when I first started out, you could have I had a 6-minute clip go viral on MySpace Comedy one day.
Damn.
When I would try to submit to bookers, they'd be like, what are you coming to feature or headline? And if I was like, well, I'd like to headline, they go, great, send me a tape of your hour.
Yeah.
Like they'd want to watch the whole hour.
Yeah.
Go, oh yeah, I've seen enough. I've seen a 6-minute clip on Kill Tony. Yeah, come do an hour. Like the
hour clip, they're not even sitting watching all of it. They'll fast forward to they'll watch the first 10 minutes, they'll go halfway through and watch 2 minutes, and then they'll go to the last 10 to 5 minutes and watch that just to see if there's audience retention and still laughs through that. And they go, okay, you can do that.
Well, and they also just checking to see, were you able to record an hour?
Yeah.
Like if you don't have an hour that's good enough to record and send to a booker, then they shouldn't pay you to do it.
Right.
That was the mindset of guys like Dave Stroop and who's the other guy? Heffron, Joel Heffron or whatever, who had all the Pace. Joel Pace from Heffron Comedy, Heffron Talent. He had all the Southeast Florida. Yeah. For the run.
Did you ever
the Yoder guy from Funny Business?
Did you ever do like a casino run or one of these shows or one of these runs where the host and the feature are the same, like you're the host and feature, and so like I did this. Like that, I did a couple of these casinos where I'm the feature for the headliner. Me and the headliner go, to the different shows, but they all had the same stipulations. It's really like, hey, you're essentially hosting and cold opening, but you have to do 30. You have to do 25 minutes after the cold open, and you're going to bring up the headliner at this point. Dude, I've had a couple times where the headliner just got off stage at like 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like not going to pay us. And I went back out and did another 20 minutes. You think they another 15 minutes. You think that they like paid me extra or any of that? No.
Covering the time?
No. They just like, that was just so we got paid. And I was sitting there going like, listen, man, if I got to do that, we're going to have to switch or something. I'm like in my mind, but I'm not telling the headliner this. I was like, hey man, I don't know if you know this, but you breezed through your fucking set and walked off at 45 minutes. That's why I ran back out there to fucking, and
I had a booker yell at me. When I was like, man, I just started out. It was like 2007, 2008. And I got booked to do a headlining gig before I had enough time. And I did like 45 and I went to get off and he was like, get the fuck back up there. You didn't do an hour. Like you did 45, go do 15 more. Yeah. And so I literally like went up there and literally just like worked the crowd. Yeah. And then I ended up writing a new bit in the process of that. And it ended up ultimately being good for me. But you just couldn't do this kind of shit when I started. And it wasn't like forever ago, but I started almost 20 years ago. And so, yeah, when I started almost 20 years ago, there was still kind of rules around this stuff.
Yeah, now it's literally the comedy club. doesn't have to be a comedy club in the sense that we're booking comedy, or we're selling tickets to comedy fans in the area, and the club will be full when you get here. Like the Improv used to be in the 90s or something. Like no matter who's coming to town, this thing's gonna be full on a Saturday, so you better bring it. That doesn't exist. It's like, you saw him on Kill Tony for 60 seconds. You've seen him for this. Here's your headliner. He's got 100,000 followers on TikTok.
Right.
And like, here's fucking Uncle Larry or whatever the fuck.
Some of these people start like a King Batch or a Brittany Ferlin, and they start with something like Vine or whatever, and then they actually become really, really good comedians. But there are a lot of them that don't, and a lot of them that quit. Like Brittany, I don't think Brittany does stand up anymore. I don't think Batch does stand up anymore. Like Batch has segued his thing into movies, but like the point is like you can break in with some of these. This is why I'm not against like Vine or different things like that, but you don't just like, it doesn't necessarily translate. Like Matt
Rife. That's why I'm happy for Matt Rife. They don't know that motherfucker was cutting his teeth, grinding and all that shit, putting shows together with Paul in the middle of fucking the pandemic in a parking lot in the back of a pickup truck and shit. And then the clips just happened. Girls were like, he's hot. This is crazy. And he fucking hacked the algorithm on TikTok where his were like the only videos girls were even sharing. Like, I like stand up. Well, I like Matt Rife. Yeah. And then so like Matt will even tell you straight up, like, yeah, dude, 3 fucking years ago, I was fucking doing parking lot shows with Paul. Now I'm bringing Paul to open for me at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah. Now here's some interesting shit I'll say. Like, this is why comedians have to give some thought into, are you skinning the sheep? And what I mean by this is the as much as I say, the audience has no right to be mad about this. As a comedian, you do really have to look at this. And this is why I say things like, you know, you don't agree with me when I say this publicly or whatever. But sometimes I go like, yeah, this hour's not ready to go out and charge people to come see yet. Right. But that is proof that I think about that. I think about like, I don't want somebody to buy a ticket to come see me and leave and go, I feel like I got swindled. You know, and there are comics who have done that. Like, you know, what I thought was interesting was I had a lot of friends whose wives or girlfriends made them take them to see Matt Rife in an arena, and were like, why isn't there crowd work? And it's like, because you can't do crowd work in an arena. And so in some regard, you know, and we talked about this when it happened. I said, I don't know if that's the right necessarily career move at this point for Matt, because he's going to go to an arenas and he's going to make a lot of money, but ain't nobody want to see your material, dude. They want to see you do crowd work.
Yeah, but for him, I think he did change it up to where it's kind of like Kings of Comedy, where they turned the lights on and D.L. Hughley would just roast the crowd and shit. They turned the lights on, and he's got like the Michael Jackson mic now.
Right, but that was an adjustment from the original theater tour.
That's what I'm saying. He started when he started doing those things. They're like, listen,
now you can do that.
You're like, listen,
you almost got to take a page out of Jimmy Carr's book.
Yeah,
like Jimmy Carr does that shit with the headset mic, and we'll go and have the lights go up and go into the audience, and
and so
Jimmy Carr does crowd work in arenas. Like
so Matt, more credit to Matt too, and especially just like all the chicks that he's got, like that motherfucker could drown in pussy, and he just like got his head on straight.
But you bring up a great point, is that Matt Rife had the same thing happen that Natalie Cuomo had happen, and Matt took it seriously, and then also along the way was like, maybe not do it this way, maybe make adjustments, maybe do this or whatever, is adjusting to go, I don't want this to be a one and done. I want to be able to do this for the next 20, 30 years. So I got to make adjustments on the fly, and you have to give a shit.
And it's also the opposite, right? The adjustment that is made is like Natalie definitely got triggered by the dude saying you don't have no material. And I would say like, she don't got crowd work. So, you know, stick to your jokes and stick to your material, and don't engage and don't do crowd work. With Matt, he put out a crowd work special. He's been doing so much crowd work. Most of the clips that he's got are crowd work stuff. His adjustment is like, actually, let me lean into crowd work more, make that adjustment, and I can bail on some of this material that I haven't been working on because I just been doing these fucking runs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, it's complete opposite, but it's the same thing in that, like, you know, you just have to be. It's about awareness, I think, at the most part. But anyway, I think speaking of awareness, it is February.
Yeah, I mean we're really bad. We're really bad whites because we are 45 minutes into our show, and we have not talked about a single black person yet. And it's Black History Month.
It's Black History Month.
We did it again. We forgot about them again.
You know, and this is really goes back to Morgan Freeman tried to hammer it home. You know, well, what's White History Month? Yo, what's Jewish History Month? You got a month?
Yeah.
Do you want one? No. Well, stop.
If there was a White History Month, what would we pick?
July.
July. Yeah, July is White History Month.
You know why?
Because we made this a country and everything's been great ever since. You're welcome, Earth.
Well, also because it's in the name. July. It's a Jews lie month. And that would be the White History Month. It's like another July. That's why it's in this month. That's every fucking thing. It's got to be in July. But for the month being, I'd like to, and I had fried chicken yesterday. And it's some of the things like you could ask people like, hey, ask your fellow whites, what are you doing for Black History Month? How do you prep for it? You might get some wild answers. You might be like, fucking A, this is where the motherfuckers try and get all uppity and I gotta fucking I won't hear the end of it on my TV. Some people say the same things, go, you know, I just don't like all these movies. I see it raise every black voice. Like, I just want to watch HBO. And then some people are like, it's so terrible what happened to those black people.
Yeah.
Whites have a varying.
Whites are too aware
of what's going on.
You know what? Whites are.
You don't have to raise awareness.
Yeah, you know, I'm super aware. I'm like, there's two of them over there. There's two of them over there. I clock them when I walk into places. Yeah, that is kind of a fun. You just gave me an idea for a funny thing because if like a black dude catches you saying the N-word in public, that would be a fun way to spin it. Was like, how dare you use that word? I go, I wasn't even quite aware that you were around. And isn't that kind of the goal? Like, isn't it the point for us to all be the same and for me to just not even know you're there because I don't see color?
I was all the way in the back. I was aware. Just want to let you know that I was very aware, and there's two of them in the bathroom too. Just so you guys know.
Two in the bathroom, and I think they came in together, and they're doing.
And I don't play that shit.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Who are some of your favorite blacks all time, dead or alive?
Are you talking about? Well, I definitely prefer them dead. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. Totally kidding. What was I going to say? You mean like currently alive blacks or all
dead
time?
Or alive? All time blacks.
Got to be alive. O.J. Simpson at the top of the list.
Top of the list.
Top of the list. I mean, to get off,
changed culture.
To get off with murdering your wife, and then to write a book that was like, if I had did it, this how I would have done it differently. And I just watched that new OJ documentary on Netflix about all the evidence that wasn't admitted, and I'm just like, oh, this guy definitely did this shit.
Yeah. Honestly, it kind of watching any of that stuff makes you go, you got to get a Jew lawyer.
I mean, yeah, dude. Well, also too, it was like it was maybe the most open and shut murder case in the history of murder cases. Like there were literally bloody fingerprints on the door that were not collected into evidence.
Yeah.
Because the fucking police were so worried about the media fiasco that was about to descend upon the property that they rushed through the collection of evidence, and there was key evidence that was just never collected, like the bloody fingerprints on the doorknob.
That reminds me of the Mulaney joke, where he was just like, before cameras and stuff, you just had to not be there.
Yeah.
He was just like, it was like, detective, there's a pool of the killer's blood, and we found the murder weapon over here. Gross. Now back to my hunch. This guy literally killed them, then went back to the house over on like Rockford or whatever the road was,
got a change of clothes, called his car service, went to the airport, dropped a bag dropped
in the trash can.
Dropped a murder weapon or not the murder weapon, but something in the trash can. I think it was the murder weapon in the trash can at the airport. Flew to Chicago and answered the phone. Was like, "Huh? She dead? Huh?"
Wow, that's crazy.
That's crazy. I've been in Chicago since.
I've been in Chicago since I can't even remember when I got here.
Fucking flew out. I must have been flowed out like at least 38 minutes after that shit must have happened. Like,
who else is on your top list? I got like Red Fox, things like that.
I think I got to put Kanye on my list of top blacks of all time, just because first of all, the music hits alone up there, and then he's a nonstop source of autistic entertainment. I can't look away.
He's back on X, and those tweets the past day. I think he's also deleting tweets and then adding tweets.
Somebody gave that nigga some minutes on a prepaid card where he was like, "Data, I can log back in." He is just running it up.
Also, I would like to say, Kanye, no, you didn't. Okay, he said, "I brought back honky, y'all. You're welcome." And I'm just like, first of all,
well, he also said,
I say honky at fucking the black shows. So
yeah. He's also collaborating with Diddy and calling himself God again. And it's just like, I was like, hey man, you're about to get investigated and you're going to end up right next to Diddy. Stop it. Shut it down.
Yeah.
The man can't be advised.
He's wild.
No one can advise this man whatsoever.
He's wild.
He's absolutely over the line.
You think I was going to say, we probably can't even get into all the other shit. I was going to say about if we were going to get into like all the Doge and all the government waste, we could probably do that on the next episode.
Well, we still have 30 minutes left.
I was going to say, do you think he's going to watch the Super Bowl with all the Taylor Swift coverage?
Do I think Ye's going to watch the Super Bowl?
Yeah, because Kendrick Lamar is the performance. I want him to live tweet the Super Bowl.
I think Ye's going to be at the Super Bowl. Didn't he go a couple years ago and just like sit by himself up in the stands? It was just like tweeting or something in the middle of it. I think he did. I think he went to the Super Bowl a couple years, maybe when it was in LA, and he was just like in the just like in the stands with one other person.
Yeah, probably one of his
kids. It was like him and like Chance the Rapper just sitting there texting in the middle of the Super Bowl. It was during the Alex Smith or the Alex Jones shit because he was wearing that Fox
zipper face thing.
Yeah, well, and the snowmobile jacket too. So,
do you? I want to know how. Do you remember like Chris?
That was the Fuentes season. That was the Ye Fuentes collection.
Yeah. Yeezy Groiper.
That was Yeezy Groiper 2022. Yeah.
Do you think that all this because he was like, Elon, you a real one for this and all that. Do you think he gets involved because you remember when all the like entertainers and sports teams and all this stuff filed for like PPP loans and shit?
He was one of them, and then he had to pay it back.
Yeah, but why did nobody else?
I don't know.
Like Chris Brown got it, Lil Wayne got it, the Lakers got it.
I could tell you why he had to pay it back was because he started saying the J word, and they were like, "We're going to need that back, or else we're going to put you in prison."
I saw something the other day about
if an N says a J, then a J puts an N away for a long time. What do you say?
Where did I see the thing? Oh, it was David Hahn. Shout out David Hahn. Hahn said about the whole Israel-Palestine thing and Trump weighing in, like, we're going to own Gaza. We're going to own it. He was like, yeah, Trump didn't care because he said, as far as he's concerned, the West Bank is still a bank and you Jews. He was like, it's still a bank, right? Okay, well, that's all. You guys still have a bank. We'll take Gaza. You can have the West Bank because you guys are better with banks.
That's funny. It'd be funny if Trump doesn't understand that it's not an actual bank.
It's way funnier that way.
Well, obviously, the banks, we have to give control of that to
I don't want to take control of the bank. I hope to get a loan from the West Bank. But this Doge thing, I think, is the funniest shit that's happened in a long time.
Dude. It's pretty great. Did you see the Department of Education all the congressmen and women led by Maxine Waters, which, by the way, you know you're on the wrong side of history when Maxine Waters is in the front of your mob. Like one of the most corrupt.
Did you hear what Trump said about that? They asked him. It was Ducey from Fox News asked him.
I didn't see what.
What do you think of the? Did you see when they tried to get into the
Department of Education
buildings in LA and Maxine Waters was there? And he goes, "What a low life. She's a low life Maxine Waters. I mean, like she hates this country." And we're going to get rid of the people that hate this country. We don't want them. We want. And I was like, dude, he's fucking awesome, dude. I mean, and then the guy who was outside the building, she's like, let me see your ID again, boy. And he's like, no. He's like, well, what's your name? Let me see the ID. And he goes, I showed it to you. No, dude, that guy, dude, when you tell a black woman no, oh my God. You could just everything in her. She was like, "What you mean no?" Like it was so fucking hilarious to me to watching this guy just cross his arms and just go, "No." That guy's a legend. Whoever that fucking dude was, this is the head of something in the fucking Department of Education. Like, here's the other thing too. I'm like, can you believe Trump wants to take away, like Adam Schiff said this about Department of Education. And I was like, dude, the Department of Education was started in 1980 under Jimmy Carter, which means when my parents were educated, when your parents were educated, when these fucking dumbasses in Congress were educated, it did not exist.
Yeah.
So to act like you can't just remove a government agency, it's a violation of the law. Oh yeah, what law? What law? Is it the same law that made up these agencies?
Yeah, I just want to show you. I got a picture of a live look at what happens when you tell a black woman no to me. That's me that's me reacting.
That's your porn though.
Yeah,
your porn is just people on the internet saying no to black women and they throw tantrums.
Yes, God, that's me all day. Ectoplasm. It was some kind of ectoplasm. Got me and he got everybody else. So, ooh, that's me.
But they uncovered so far a teachers union in the state of New York got $28 million from USAID, the USAID.
Mm-hmm.
USAID also gave, I think we did the math. They pulled the thing up. It's like $400 million to Lutheran refugee services, which is basically a Lutheran church sneaking immigrants into our country.
Yeah.
And all the payments, it's from December. It'll be like December 13th, $32 million. December 16th, $25 million. All of this was in the final months of Biden's regime. So within the last 2 months of Biden's tenure, right before the inauguration, they gave $400 million to Lutheran church shit to bring it, and it's crazy. People, the Catholic Church. This is what I told Leonardo Joni. I said to Leonardo, I was like, "Hey man, we can't be Jews, and say all the Jews are forcing mass immigration, and you got a fucking Catholic." Services, whatever the Catholic,
it was well over $1 billion. It was billions of dollars. I think. What do we total up in just what you sent me in that screenshot? It was like $3 billion.
In the one screenshot, it totaled over $400 million just to the Lutherans.
Yeah.
And it makes you go. I was like, okay, if you're going to say that Jews are subverting the government and want mass immigration, and all that stuff, you need to look at these other sects of money grabbing cocksuckers who are in charge of these church services. It's not the church itself. It's not like the Vatican had a slush fund
set up in the name of the church.
Exactly. And you
might find out it doesn't even exist. It doesn't have any. The church might not even know it exists.
Right. And that place, we looked it up. It's based in Baltimore, which in the DMV area, and that whole Delaware, Maryland, Virginia shit. It's all
Washington. It's all the swamp.
Well, that swamp and the Washington. It's what Eric Abinante, shout out to Eric, would refer to as all beachfront property, in the sense that every single house over there puts you close to the mix of the influencers and the power players and stuff. So all the prices of the houses are jacked through the roof to be in these little towns and stuff. And you're like, what the fuck? This little town in Virginia?
Because you could bump into some, you know, if you're a lobbyist,
Exactly.
you could bump into some senator in a fucking coffee shop.
So they made shit up.
It's as simple as this, right? People have been watching our guy James O'Keefe now for about 5 years show you how easy it is to just get on a dating app and get some high-level executive to just start spilling company trade secrets. How do you think lobbyists have been doing their job?
Culture.
How do you think lobbyists have been doing their job for 100 years? They live in these neighborhoods outside of DC. Some bitch bumps in. A lot of lobbyists look like the fucking hot chick from Dope Sick, right? The pharmaceutical sales rep. This chick shows up. Oh yeah. Oh, your wife's away with the kids in the cabin this weekend. What are you up to? Glock, 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 glock. By the way, now you have to give Pfizer $1 billion, and I don't care what church you have to launder it through. That is literally the way the country has been run for $1 billion for our entirety. I was going to say 1 billion years. That's just society. So what does it take to thwart all this? An asexual autistic nerd who's like, hold on a minute. If I didn't like pussy whatsoever,
hold on.
How would I be changing government?
Hold on. That dude is not asexual.
Okay, well, he
is autistic because his kid is fucking named after a number, right? And all his kids are like, he's just but for the fact that that fool sticks his dick in anything he can because he's the richest guy in the world.
Well, okay, right? Of course he can, but he also seems bored with it. He's like, but 13 kids. Who cares? Who cares?
His whole thing is like, we'll make up the world and the birth rate.
You can not any way you want. It's fine.
The fact that 50 Cent even made that song back in the day was like, "Have you a baby by me, baby, be a millionaire." He's like, yeah, whatever, richest guy in the world. I don't care. Kids don't cost me anything. Yeah. Like, dude, they got to the thing that I've been clamoring for them to track down and expose: Medicare.
Yeah.
And they found $100 billion so far of waste. And I've said this from day one: if you want medical care, cost of care, quality of care to improve and cost of care to go down, you have to abolish Medicare, because the government should not be in the healthcare business. And them to be like, well, everybody should have universal healthcare. I go, hey, the fat chick that I used to rent a room from in her fucking 50s drank like a fish. Her kidneys are warped. Fucking a couple of other comedians I know are alcoholics. You think they have the same health as me? But why should I? So now we're just going to say your health and my health are the same. That's what they're trying to say. Dude, there was 9,100 people who died in Canada last year just from waiting on services, surgeries, and all that stuff.
I don't agree with. This is the thing that we disagree on. I think we should have universal health care in the sense that I think the bill should just go to the government, but I think the way it's run should be privatized. Right?
Yeah, but you can't do that without abolishing Medicare first.
Yes, of course.
So Bernie Sanders' whole take of Medicare for all,
because that's government putting their finger on the scale of pricing. That's just price. That's price setting and price fixing.
Exactly. And for anybody who doesn't know, they're called diagnostic related groups, DRGs, and that's how Medicare sets your price for everything. So when you go to the hospital and you say, I need Advil, and you get the bill and you go, that Advil was $300. And you go, actually, it cost us $298. And for the hospital to make $3 on it, we had to charge you $301.
And then here's the thing is, why is Medicare, going back to what we initially said, so we don't get too far down the rabbit hole here, why is Medicare inflating? What would be their point to inflating the prices of things? Well, it's all of this embezzlement. It's all of this embezzlement that you're seeing.
Money laundering, embezzlement.
It's just money laundering. It's just theft. Mm-hmm. It's just theft. So
and I'm so happy about it. But the funniest thing is to watch all these fucking liberals go, can you believe 4 fucking 20-year-olds have access to our government issue? Like, you mean your social security number? That's a government issued number. That's what you're worried about? You think 4 fucking nerds are just going to do scams with you? That's how you know they're all doing boomer scare tactics. Like, make sure nobody gets that government issue ID. I was like,
Listen,
they're government records.
let's say there's now 400 million people in the United States. Just in what we saw given to the Lutheran thing, you could literally give $1 million to every American.
No,
I'm just saying, just with what, no, just listen to me. Just with what we saw in that little sliver of that one division of things going.
Oh yeah, 400 million just to them, 22 million to here. Yeah.
I have no doubt that you could literally go through all of that stuff and find $1 million that you could have just taken away from something else and handed to an American citizen over the last and again over the last 50, because we're talking about, this is just 2024 numbers. Imagine what it's been like for over 50 years.
Yeah, because you know who founded U.S. aid?
Johnson, right? Lyndon Johnson?
JFK.
Oh, okay. It was before Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah. And then once they've murdered him, Mossad, they found a way to like use it as a slush fund to get things done. They haven't even scratched the surface of Act Blue and the rest of the Democrat scams. Like, dude, when the California fire, when there are fires happen down here, Gavin Newsom posted a link to like, hey, help with fire relief, and it took you to Act Blue. Yeah, and you're like, are these people that soulless that this is what they're doing? And I know that's a rhetorical question.
The answer, because that's what they've always done. That's what they've always done, is take your money in the name of help and then not do it.
So anybody who is anyone that is getting upset about this cracks me up, especially when the age thing. I'll be like, some 22-year-old out here with this. I go, I'm gonna stop you right there. The founding fathers were 22 years old. Okay, you think James Madison wasn't smart enough to understand and grasp these full concepts? You think that fucking Thomas Jefferson didn't know what the fuck he was talking about, or fucking John Adams? It's like, dude, these kids were 23, 24 years old. Writing the Constitution, and to act like he was like Benjamin Franklin was the old guy,
right?
It's like everyone else was a young whippersnapper that was like essentially like, hey, these boomers are gonna fuck everything up, and they had the foresight to know. There's like, so the Adam Schiff, Chuck Schumer. All of them are like, we should take to the streets. It's like, why? Because they cut off your money.
Yeah.
Isn't that like, and the again, back to simp behavior. This is probably the theme of the show. People simping for the government. Just going, I can't believe it. This fucking crazy lunatic billionaire has access to all our information. I go, who do you think had access before? The guys who were stealing your money. He's just exposing it. It's like, what are you talking about? You think the richest guy in the world is just going to stuff his pockets with your little change? No, but they were. They were literally taking your money and stealing it. Dude, $100 billion to Medicare. $177 billion to the thing in Ukraine, and you find out that U.S. aid is the reason for the Ukraine fucking war, because they paid to have the Biden like use the loan as collateral for having the prosecutor go in and prosecute Trump.
Yeah,
it was literally like a quid pro quo thing of like, cool, this bitch on charge of this gets a bunch of money, and you're like, oh my God, they put us in a proxy war for that. Good thing we didn't send troops over there that we know about.
Right.
It's like you spent $177 billion of taxpayer money when you lied and said you were just sending them weapons that was worth that much. And as soon as Trump gets in office, which has been what, 15, 17 days or some shit like that.
Yeah, basically.
All of a sudden, Zelensky's like, "Well, we can end this war."
Yeah, of
really?
course.
What the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. I mean, speaking of wild, there's you'd say some of these things are almost the kind of information that would make a man kill himself.
Primo, I do agree though. Simping for Elon is just as bad. He banned us both. Don't trust him. I'm not simping for Elon. I'm saying a broke clock can be right twice a day. And he's actually doing what he was tasked to do by the CEO of America. Period.
Right.
He's doing his job that he signed up to do.
You can think he was wrong about H-1B visas and believe that he's right about doing this, right? Like, again.
Yeah, he's doing the job. This is about government efficiency.
This idea that you have to like everything about a guy to support a guy is like, it's insane and it's stupid leftist logic.
Yeah, I don't have to agree with all these motherfuckers to know that somebody can make a funny joke. I can watch Ben Stiller's show on Apple TV and not like the shit that he said during COVID, right? I can do that. I can separate that because some and this is probably we'll finish up with Super Bowl shit after this, but there is a thing. The left has had control of art for so long because the right only cares about owning the libs and doesn't care about putting transgressional stuff and transgressions into art. They don't care about the beauty and stuff of God. For people who love God and claim they love God, they don't have the reverence of God and the beauty and shit like that in the art. They just don't do it. They would rather go the AI route and go cheap. Right. And they go, who needs that? We can just make AI for this shitty content. And like,
yeah, but I believe that, that's also back to what we said at the beginning of the episode. It's a reflection of the consumer. So it's like, you can't really fault the death of conceptually beautiful art that in a way honors God when the consumer doesn't care about that either.
But that's why the left has had, which the secular left has had a stranglehold on art for that long, and the right doesn't fight back with that or make art that counters it. They only make stuff to counter.
That's my point. That's my point. Is the people on the right accept that is the art. Like people on the right,
exactly.
Well, we've had to accept for so long that we just have to watch things with liberals that we don't like or don't agree with. Well, you haven't created an alternative.
Exactly.
One on the right has been like, here's our version of Disney that's great.
Exactly.
Right? Because on the right, the problem is everybody wants to make it, but just for them, they don't want to reinvent what a swimming pool is. They just want their own swimming pool in their backyard. And so that's the problem with, the conservative right is like Daily Wire had an opportunity to really be this sort of production arm for the right wing. And they were like, no, we're only interested in making our own pro-Israel propaganda shit.
What did they do when they got mad that the Snow White shit was going to be woke and shitty? They could have just not watched that from Disney. Instead, they're like, let's make our own. And you're like, why? Let Disney have that loss.
Right, exactly.
Don't make a shitty version of that,
right,
and then act like it's going to be better because it's unwoke or something.
Yeah,
that's gay.
Yeah, do your own thing. Do your own thing that's better and smarter and funnier.
And better and smarter comes down to this. People asking, wasn't this a sports podcast? It's a whatever the fuck we want it to be podcast. We talk about what we want. We do what we want. But yeah, we do talk about sports. And the big sports weekend, of course, is the big game, the ultimate one, the Super Bowl this Sunday.
Super Bowl 57, I think it is.
The Chiefs are going for history and the only three-peat in the history of the NFL. The Eagles are looking to play spoiler, and it's a rematch from one of those in the three-peat. So if they do cap off this with a three-peat, two of them will be against Jalen Hurts. And actually, I can't wait to cheer for the Chiefs.
Well, it's actually Super Bowl 59. 57 was the one the Eagles already lost to.
Yeah. So I personally do not hate the Chiefs as much as everybody says. Like, everybody's tuning in to hate the Chiefs. Fuck Taylor Swift. Fuck Travis Kelce. I go, dude, fuck Jalen Hurts. What the fuck? Yeah. And his all-woman management team. Fuck him and his fucking tush push. Fuck their fucking... that's the guy they ran Carson out of town for. He's got the best defense, the best offensive line, awesome receivers, and he already lost with them. Like, this is Cavs Warriors again. This is a rematch that people are like, this time he's going to get it. I just don't think Jalen Hurts is the guy to be down 3-1 and win it like LeBron. He ain't LeBron.
Yeah.
I think he's Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
I think
I listen, you know, that it's hard to, as a longtime Philly fan, it's like, I know a lot of Philadelphia fans want to see it, you know, they want to see them win, they want to see them upset, you know, the fan favorite, they want to see them disrupt the the Emperor Chiefs, right? The refs are on their side, America's team. It's kind of like Dallas Cowboys shit from the 90s, where they're like the dynasty. It's like the Patriots were in the early 2000s.
people,
Somebody
once
read
you're
this-
good like that, they hate that. They hate
Yeah,
that. Like, I
exactly.
hated the Patriots just because I'm a Jets fan.
Somebody read this statistic off earlier, and I think it's going to hold true. They said every time two coaches throughout the Super Bowl era have rematched, the coach who won the first time also wins the second time.
Yeah.
No, the returning coach has never upset the guy who beat them the first time, and I think it will go that way again. And I also
Andy
think
Reid is such a better coach.
it's to me, it's just the curse of Andy Reid of like, oh, it was time to move on from Andy Reid, and you moved him along and put him out to pasture and thought his career was over, and then he went to Kansas City and built a dynasty.
So, and do you think that's poetic too? Because I do.
Yeah, I think so.
His first Super Bowl he won back then, a few years ago, with Patrick Mahomes' first one, because this will be their fourth ring together.
Do you want to know what I really think it? Do you want to know what I really like about it? If I'm being honest, it's that the two Jews thought they could do it without him. They were just like, we've been doing this with Andy long enough to where we can hire anybody. We can hire a fucking jerk off named Nick Sirianni, and we can win
with fucking Fat Dom on the sidelines.
Yeah, it's like so there is like a cunty business Jew aspect to the way the Eagles have been run, where you go, in comes the fat Christian warrior, Brigham Young University, starting quarterback Andy Reid to strike down vengeance in furious anger. Like, there is something sort of satisfying about
poetic.
About Andy Reid just being like, not today, Jews. You can't spreadsheet your way out of this game.
Also, you don't sacrifice your son and not get the three-peat, right?
Oh my God. It's too late. Too late of a joke. My God. People don't even remember that he lost a son. Now we're getting into Tripoli territory here, where we're like, Tony Dungy lost a son, won a ring. Andy Reid lost a son, won a ring. Nick Sirianni, quick, throw one of your kids into a river, into the Schuylkill.
So you want to win?
Yeah, if you want to try to beat the Christian warrior Andy Reid with your two fucking Jews behind you, you better drown one of them kids in his Schuylkill.
They took away end racism in the end zone. Did you see that?
I know, we did it. Our tour did it. Remember the end racism tour? We did it. We ended racism.
I think there's going to be a lot of racism in the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, you think so?
Dude, they got a white starting corner in the fucking Super Bowl.
They have two of them. Well,
he's the safety.
Yeah.
You got a white starting corner. You got a mixed
two mixed quarterbacks.
You got a mixed quarterback. No, well, the other one's just light skinned, I think.
No,
Patrick Mahomes is mixed.
Yeah, isn't Jalen Hurts mixed?
No.
Oh, okay.
He's just light skinned. I mean, somewhere along that line, he's mixed.
Yeah. So listen, it ain't all chocolate going back to the. We know what it looks like. Its name is Lamar Jackson. Lamar ain't had a sprinkle of non-chocolate ever.
Lamar got robbed last night, though, by the way.
No, he didn't really. Oh, you're talking about the MVP?
Yeah, Josh Allen won it, even though Lamar set records for no quarterbacks ever had like 4,000 passing yards and fewer than 5 interceptions, 4,000 yards and 600 or 800 rushing yards. He's the first player ever to have. He beat Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, and both of them, he had 10 touchdowns, no picks, gets robbed. And he had 800 more yards than Josh Allen.
Right. But you know why Josh Allen won?
Yeah, because his chick is fine as fuck.
And what is she? A Jew.
Only her dad is a Jew.
Okay.
Mother not a Jew, which is why she'll fully embrace the Christian baby he put inside of her.
Nice. You really like that she got transformed, don't you?
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah. You live for that shit.
Oh man.
That's all you want to do in this world, isn't it? Is find some Jew and make her a Christian with your penis.
Isn't that the goal? Isn't that, I think it's written in the book, my man.
Listen, as the representative for the Vikings, I have to tell you that we don't want to be impregnating any Jews.
If I would like Kanye, if he does show up as a Super Bowl, to bum rush Kendrick Lamar's performance.
Oh, I'm sure he would attempt to crash.
I think that would be fantastic. But other than that, you have any final thoughts?
Final prediction of the game? I actually think it's going to be further apart than people think it's going to be. I'm going to go 34-21 Chiefs.
Ooh. So the under has hit in like 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls, some shit like that.
Yeah.
The last one, when they played, it was the highest scoring Super Bowl in a while.
Everybody's thinking that this is going to be a defensive
over 57.
Everyone's thinking take the under because the defenses are the toughest defenses, whatever. I think it's going to be a shootout. And I think what's going to happen is I think the Chiefs are going to jump out to a retarded victory or like a retarded lead where they're going to go up like 21-0 in the first quarter or the second quarter.
If
and
they
then
could, there's no way the Eagles come back.
Eagles will come back, but they'll never catch up. The Chiefs will just keep scoring. So 34-21 Chiefs.
Special teams is going to be a big factor too. And they said there's a Sean Payton said there's a big gap between Eagles special teams and the Chiefs. The Chiefs special teams are on another level compared to them. And they don't even have a Tyreek Hill or any of that, like a game changer like that. Mm-hmm. They do have Xavier Worthy. But there's always a big special team score. So any prop bets, something like that, punt return for a touchdown, kickoff return for a touchdown, muff punt for a touchdown, things like that.
Safety
are going to happen.
Didn't somebody win like $1 million or something on a safety in that last Eagles Super Bowl?
Not sure, but
so there was a recent one. Better wins.
Yeah, I think it's 30. I think it's going to be like a 35-38 or 35-32 type situation. I think each team scores about 35. Easy.
Yeah, hold on. This was a while ago. This was 2014. Jonah Recknitz, Jew.
That's the Peyton Manning Super Bowl.
New York Giants recorded safety against the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Giants and Patriots.
Yeah.
Well.
Yep.
I think that's
you got to give us your score. What's your score prediction?
That's what I said. I think it's going to be both teams score about 35. I think it's going to be 35-38.
And who do you give it to?
Chefs.
All right. Two votes for the Chefs.
So that could just be Eagles hate pouring through my pores right now, but
I don't have hate for the Eagles. I mean, like there are
you
things.
Got a soft spot for them. I don't.
No. I mean, I grew up an Eagles fan. I'm just not really a fan of any particular team over other teams anymore. It's just because I don't know. I'm with football. I don't care that much. It's just the fucking blacks change teams every year, and it's
the Jazz moved to Utah where they don't allow music.
Yeah, it's I'm so apathetic when it comes to NFL. NFL is just a fucking corporate money suck anymore. So
last plug, patreon.com/the Big Uglies podcast. You can send us some love. 5 to keep us alive, 8 to hate. You can hate us for $8. We'll put it up. You guys are hating in the chat for free, but we don't give you shout outs. We don't recognize you because you're not worth it sometimes.
You gotta pay to play.
But you can pay to hate. Yes. You can pay to love us. 5 to keep us alive, 8 to hate. Thanks for tuning in, y'all.
Yeah, go watch The Biggest Problem in the Universe right now. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, guys, and go over to TBITPB. It's big. You know how to spell it. Go ahead.